Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and I focus on the Villages real estate market. If you have any questions on real estate here in the Villages or its surrounding areas, please contact me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. We're going to start today by looking at the National Home Price Index, which shockingly shows a more dramatic fall from a 26% 3 month annualized growth rate to a negative 4.3% annualized growth rate, a much steeper decline even than we saw in the 2008 2009 real estate focused crash. Another thing we've started doing is taking a look at what's happening with interest rates. This is the yield on the 10-year government note. This basically tracks what we will expect to see happening with mortgage rates. And you can see that after dipping by almost 0.5% towards the end of October, we have now risen back over 4% on the 10-year. It seems that higher rates may be with us for a while. But let's turn our attention to the real estate market here in the Villages and see what is happening. The first thing we look at are listings. This week there are 245 total listings. They range in price from 210,000 to 1,975,000. 245 is the highest number of listings we've seen in the Villages since the April time period when we started doing the show. If we want to take a closer look at what price segments these listings are in, we can see that there are currently no homes for sale for less than $200,000, and there haven't been for the last 3 weeks. In the most active price segment, the $300,000 to $500,000 price range, there are currently 144 listings. Last week there were 134, the week prior to that 133, the week prior to that 144, and the week prior to that 134. The most active price segment remains the $300,000 to $500,000 price range. If we look at what the median listing price per square foot is, this week it's $269.85. This is the lowest we've seen since we started doing this show. I would also like to mention that we're preparing a show that we'll release this week where we'll look at 7 homes, the only 7 homes in the Villages that are listed currently for under $200 a square foot. There are no listings on the Village's internal VLS system that are pre-owned at under $200 a square foot. What we're going to do is give you a drone overview of the neighborhoods and some idea of what the best deals in the Villages currently might be. Moving on to listing time, this is the median time that properties on the MLS have been on the market. Currently, 45 days is the median time. This is the longest time period that we've seen since we began in April, and almost 3 times as long as when we started doing the show 6 months ago. Looking at new listings and pending sales over the last 7 days, both were 25. There were 25 new listings and 25 homes went pending. Let's start by taking a closer look at the homes that went pending. The price per square foot on homes that went pending over the last 7 days was $261.13 a square foot. It is on the low end of the range that we've been seeing recently, but that range doesn't seem to have been moving much. Similarly, if we look at how long homes that went pending have been on the market over the last 7 days, that is 18 days. It doesn't seem that any trend is apparent there. If anything, homes are moving at a brisk pace still. Homes that went pending were barely on the market 3 weeks. Things are more interesting if we look at the price change for homes that went pending. Of all homes that went pending over the last 7 days, the median is a price change from the original listing price of 4.55%. This measure is still showing a substantial decrease from the seller's original expectations. A closer look at new listings reveals that over the last 7 days, of the 25 new listings, 2 were in the $200,000 to $300,000 price range. In the $300,000 to $500,000 price range, the last 7 days saw 17 new listings. The previous 7 days, 11. Prior to that, 12. Prior to that, 16. And prior to that, 12. Turning our attention now to properties that sold over the last 7 days. This is sold and closed. The number is 25. They ranged in price from $237,000 to $632,500. The 25 is a slight increase from the 18 that we saw last week. Here we can take an in-depth look at the properties that sold. No properties sold between $100,000 and $200,000. In the $300,000 to $400,000 range, 14 properties closed. There were 6 properties that sold in that price range the previous 7 days, 8 in the 7 days prior to that, 12 the 7 days prior to that, and 16 the 7 days prior to that. Here we look at the price realized per square foot on properties that sold. For the last 7 days, it was $251, very close to what we saw the previous week. It may look as if prices are gradually starting to trend a little lower here. This is a look at how long properties that sold were on the market. The last 7 days, the properties that closed were on the market for a median time of 25 days. Not the highest that we've seen, but certainly a lot higher than we saw earlier this year. And now we turn our attention to the final 2 items we cover, the first of which is what percentage of properties here in the villages have reduced their asking price from the original list price. That figure is currently 54.29%. What this means is that for all listings on the MLS currently, 54.29% have reduced their asking price from the original listing price. And the last thing we look at is what is the median change from the original listing price. Currently, the median change is a decrease of 5% from the original listing price. This doesn't mean that of people who've reduced their listing price, 5% is the median. It means that a 5% decrease is the median change for all listings, and this is the highest that we've seen so far this year. So that concludes this week's look at the real estate market here in the villages. Please don't forget to check back or subscribe if you'd like to see when our look at the 7 cheapest homes on a per square foot basis in the villages is published. Until then, if you have any interest in property in the villages or its surrounding areas, please contact me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to answer any questions you have. Hope to hear from you. Take care.